Well, concerns over racial divide after the murders of police officers. It's become a huge issue all of a sudden overnight to Eboni Williams. And Eboni, I'm sure you had a chance to see both of those things. And I forgot what poll it is, but race relations now have plummeted to the worst levels in a couple of decades.
Sure.
What do you make of it all? Particularly one side that says everyone's against them, there's no hope. But then the other side is saying, hey, you know what, this is America where everyone's got an opportunity, just have to take advantage of it.
I want to start by this, Charles. I want to say thank you to you. Thank you to this show and thank you to the network, because this is not an easy conversation to have. A lot of high emotional voltage on both sides of it, and I think it's really important, so thank you for facilitating this. I make this of it, though, to your question. We need more use of the word and less use of the word or. I think I'm seeing really a narrative with your earlier guest, Jay Morrison, and you actually found opportunities, Charles, in that interview where you two were not that far apart on the issue of self-responsibility. Now, he has a different vantage point. I think that he's very concerned with the historical context, and I heard you making an argument around, well, maybe we need to be less concerned with that and more concerned with present day. Now, I take the position that you don't have to divorce one from the other. I think that when you talk about why, because I live in Harlem now, and I'm seeing the gentrification firsthand you're talking about, but I live in uptown, where there are parts that still look really bad. Trash on the streets, it doesn't look like a respected, cared-for community in parts, and that saddens me. Why is that the case? You posed the question. I think I have some answers. For some people, Charles, they still don't understand the buy-in of the fact that you should be demonstrating respect and pride for your community, because it took a long time, and the history is important for some people, Charles. It took a long time to dehumanize an entire group of people, so to now empower them to have that self-respect and self-accountability, that's going to be a process too.
Who empowers someone, though? Does the person in the mirror empower themselves, or do you need to be empowered by someone else? Because Jay kept talking about somehow the government stepping up and making amends beyond economic amends, which I'm not sure how you do that. But you know, because I lived in Harlem when it was the worst place in America to live, and I can tell you right now, for me, I was shocked when I moved there because I could not believe, you know, that someone would pee in the elevator. Yeah. I could not believe someone would throw their trash out their window. I could not believe that stuff. So I understand past circumstances, but when does the responsibility, the baton of responsibility, end up in the hands of the person themselves? I
think you make a good point. I think it's not a bright line in the sand, right? I think these elements have to work together. So, for instance, you know, for me, I can speak to how I was empowered. My mother was a very instrumental part in letting me know that while there were certain things in society and media messages and things even in my own classroom that said, you know, I couldn't achieve academically because of certain things, she countered that. So that was important for me. Some people it's community. Some people it's simply that internal thing that just tells them I can do it. To the government thing, he said more than a check. Here's an example of other ways government can be helpful. The Smithsonian is opening the largest African-American history museum in D.C. this fall. I think that's important, not just for black people, Charles, but for all of Americans to see how this community has contributed to the well-being of America. We are Americans. You pointed that out. That's accurate, and we have to feel a part, and America has to really embrace that, too.
I just hope, I don't know, I mean, I just kind of hope we stop living in the past, and we should honor the past, but we should stop living in it, and I hope at some point we start to live for the future.
I think that's true, and I think we can do both.